Hello and welcome my friends in the first video of this Angular 17 series. So today we have in our agenda a quick introduction to the framework, and we'll go through a little bit of history of how Angular started, and I'll be talking to you about why would you pick Angular over all the other frameworks out there. Also, we'll have a quick look on the market demand for Angular developers nowadays and some average salaries and all that. And finally, I'll be sharing some resources with you if you ever wanted to dig deeper into the framework. Let's start out with what is Angular. Briefly, Angular is a component-based web framework. So components are the main building block of the framework. Angular is developed and maintained by Google itself, and they made sure to pack it up with everything you need to build any project. It all started back in 2009 when someone called Adam Aprins and Misko Hevery worked on a side project called Get Angular. Angular was meant to be for internal Google projects only, but it turned out to be really good, so they wanted to publish it for the public. This is why Misko Hevery and his manager Brad Green gave it a new name before exposing it to the public and named it AngularJS. Adam Aprins was out of the picture at this period. He left the project soon after. In 2010, Google finally launched AngularJS as an open source project for everyone. And soon after the launch, Ionic adopted it as well. And this made Angular a very convenient choice until this day for so many companies, because with the same framework, with the same technology, you can build web and mobile and avoid all the miscommunications that sometimes happen between the mobile team and the web team and all that. For some reason, AngularJS kept all releases under version 1, and this is why it was also known as Angular 1. Several years later, in 2014, AngularJS got entirely rewritten in TypeScript, and Angular 2 was finally released. So this was good news and bad news. The good news is that Angular now has more features, like all the object-oriented features that comes with TypeScript. But the bad news is that they did not give their users an easy way to migrate from AngularJS to Angular 2. And this is why, until this day, some projects are still written in AngularJS because of the cost of migration. Right, so this was a quick history of Angular. Let's now talk about why would you pick Angular over any other framework out there. So some of the main features are scalability. So it is really easy to scale up your project with Angular. Actually, working with Angular makes you want to build more features because everything you need is just there. Anything you'd need to build a new feature is basically built in the framework. It is so rare that there is something you need that is not built in Angular and you need a third-party library for it. And since we mentioned the built-in tools are one of the key features of Angular, as I mentioned. They have so many built-in libraries that support so many use cases. You can check them out in their official website. Also, the Angular CLI is so powerful. Anything you want to do with Angular, you'll most likely find a command for it. And the new Angular.dev website that they launched alongside with Angular 17, it is a new interactive way of learning Angular. They did a really great job there to make learning Angular an easy and fun process. Last but not least, the community of Angular is one of the best dev communities out there. I encourage you all to reach out to them and make as many connections as you can. They're very supportive and very friendly. Right, let's talk money now. So you have probably wondered, how much money would you make as an Angular developer? It's not that different from some of the most popular frameworks out there, like React, for instance. These numbers that you see are for 2023. Probably for React experts, you could see bigger numbers, but overall numbers are pretty similar. And this is the market share between some of the popular frameworks out there. Also, the market share of Angular and React are pretty close. And the good news is that Angular is recovering really fast. So I don't have the chart for 2022, but I had a look and Angular had almost half the market share of React. But now It's getting closer to what React has, and I predict that this year those numbers are getting even closer. All right, what if you want to become an Angular nerd, right? I would recommend that you start with the Angular dev website. As I mentioned, it's their new way of teaching everybody about the framework. And I've went through most of it, and I can say it's very resourceful and really easy to navigate through and really fun to deal with. Also, one of the things that I do myself is listening to podcasts. So I follow those 4 podcasts that you see on the screen, but there are like so many other podcasts that talks about Angular. But the thing that I love about those podcasts that they invite so many core Angular team members in the show, and it's really resourceful to listen to them talking about different Angular topics. I'll be leaving the links for those podcasts in the description. Stack Overflow is still a great source of information. You can see what kind of questions has been asked about Angular, what are the answers for them. And also during your Angular journey, you might encounter some questions that you cannot find an answer for. So, it's a great place to ask, and also test your knowledge by helping other developers with their questions as well. If you're into conferences, NGConf is the official Angular conference. It's not cheap, but it's really worth it. The last NGConf has experienced it. So many core Angular team members, and it was very, very rich and resourceful. Last but not least, practicing is the only way to shape those muscles. So I encourage you all to start actually building your first project and go through all the challenges that you'll face to get the project done, because this is the only way to learn what you actually need to learn. Alright, my friends, that was it for today's video. I hope you learned something new today. And I encourage you all to subscribe to the channel, because I'll be posting every couple of days until I complete the entire Angular series. If you have any question for me, feel free to add in the comments. I'll do my best to answer all of them.